Welcome to this video on food chains and food webs. This lesson will help you master feeding relationships, energy transfer, and ecosystem dynamics for your GCSE Biology exam. A food chain is a simple, linear diagram showing feeding relationships. It illustrates who eats whom and how energy flows through an ecosystem, from producers to various consumers. Remember the golden rule: arrows in a food chain always point from the food source to the feeder. This represents the direction of energy transfer. Producers are the starting point of nearly every food chain. They make their own food using sunlight, acting as the primary source of energy for the entire ecosystem. Through photosynthesis, producers capture light energy and store it as glucose. This stored chemical energy is the essential foundation that fuels the rest of the food chain. Consumers are organisms that cannot make their own food. They must eat other plants or animals to obtain the energy they need to survive. Primary consumers are the first-level feeders. They are typically herbivores that eat producers directly, occupying the second trophic level in the chain. Higher-level consumers depend entirely on the levels below them. Secondary consumers eat primary consumers, while tertiary consumers prey on those at the secondary level. Trophic levels define an organism's feeding position. Starting with producers at level 1, each subsequent level represents a step further along the path of energy transfer. Energy is lost at every trophic level. Most energy is lost as heat through respiration, movement, and waste, meaning only a fraction is available to the next consumer. This is known as the 10% rule. Because only about 10% of energy is passed on at each step, food chains rarely exceed 4 or 5 levels. While food chains are simple, food webs provide a more realistic view of nature. They connect multiple food chains to show the complex interlinked relationships in an ecosystem. In food webs, organisms often occupy multiple positions. A single species might act as a primary consumer in one chain and a secondary consumer in another. This flexibility is a survival advantage. If one food source disappears, organisms with varied diets can switch to alternatives, which makes the whole ecosystem more resilient. In summary, food webs are more realistic than food chains because they account for omnivores, multiple food sources, and the ripple effects of population changes. Organisms in a food web are all interconnected. A change in the population size of one species can trigger a chain reaction throughout the ecosystem, known as a trophic cascade. Consider a simple food web: grass to rabbits to foxes. If the fox population increases, the rabbit population declines, which can eventually lead to an increase in grass. Predators depend on prey populations. If prey numbers fall, predators may starve or reproduce less. If prey numbers rise, more food is available and predators thrive. Competition is another major factor. Organisms compete for limited resources like food, water, and territory, which helps regulate population sizes. Intraspecific competition happens between members of the same species, while interspecific competition occurs between different species. Both limit population growth. Every species is connected in an ecosystem. This interconnectedness means that removing one species can have cascading consequences, even for organisms that don't directly interact. If a predator is lost, prey populations often explode, leading to overgrazing of producers. Conversely, if a producer is lost, the entire chain can collapse. For exam questions, trace changes step by step. If rabbits decline due to disease, foxes will lose their food source, and their population will fall, while grass will increase. Producers make their own food through photosynthesis and are always at the start of a food chain, while consumers must eat other organisms for energy. Mastering terminology is key for GCSE marks. Remember that a producer makes its own food, a consumer eats others, and the trophic level defines an organism's feeding position. Know the difference between herbivores, which eat plants, carnivores, which eat animals, and omnivores, which eat both. These labels describe an organism's diet. When drawing food chains, start with the producer. Use arrows to show the flow of energy from food source to consumer, and label each organism clearly. An energy pyramid visualizes energy loss. The base is always widest for producers, showing that energy is lost as you move to higher trophic levels. Pyramids of biomass are more accurate than pyramids of number because they account for the total mass of living material rather than just the individual count. Finally, don't forget decomposers. Bacteria and fungi recycle nutrients from dead matter back into the soil, which is essential for the survival of the entire food chain. Food chains and webs also exist in aquatic ecosystems like rivers and oceans. In these systems, microscopic phytoplankton serve as the primary producers near the water's surface. Human activity significantly impacts food webs. Overfishing, habitat destruction, and the use of pesticides can disrupt delicate natural balances and lead to ecosystem collapse. Bioaccumulation is a major environmental issue where toxins, such as pesticides, build up in concentration as they move up the food chain, often harming top predators. Avoid these common exam mistakes. Never reverse arrow directions, always start chains with a producer, and remember that energy is lost at every step, not transferred fully. When answering explain questions, structure your answer by stating the change, describing the direct effect, noting the knock-on consequences, and giving a final summary. Let's look at a practice question. If a disease kills caterpillars, the blue tit population decreases because they have less food, and the sparrowhawk population then follows. In marine webs, orca populations are small because energy is lost as waste and heat at every trophic level, leaving only about 10% available for the next step. Quickfire review. Arrows point to the feeder. Energy is lost at each level. Food webs are more realistic than chains, and plants are producers, not consumers. To summarize, chains track energy flow. Producers power the system. Consumers eat others. Energy loss limits chain length, and webs show the complexity of ecosystems. You're all set for your exam. Remember the arrow rule. Trace population changes step by step and keep energy loss in mind. Good luck, you've got this.